is the Club Ichi Way. I was introduced to Dr. Cynthia Bentzen-Mercer a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so, and we were just chit-chatting about the type of coaching that she does with executives to help them once they've been moved into the next level or to get to the next level. And so in our conversations around solopreneur, around job hunting, around the state of the job market, I thought she'd be a great person to bring on to talk about moving up the career ladder. So if you are in a position at your company and you're looking at the next step, she's going to help us out with some of those mindset and skill sets that you need to up level to step up the ladder. Hi, Dr. Cynthia. Hi, you're on. Welcome.
Hello. I couldn't hear you, so I apologize. Thank you
I'm
so
glad
much
you're here now. I was just saying I had just met you not too long ago, and we had such a great conversation about career empowerment and about moving up the ladder and about making sure that you're ready for your next step. And I was so excited that you said yes to come share that knowledge with our community.
Absolutely. Well, it's a delight and a privilege to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm going to move this around on my screen so I can see my slides as well.
Beautiful. Well, I'll turn it over to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, welcome. I am Dr. Cynthia, and I'm so excited to be with you all today. We are going to talk about how to level up, and we have a really short amount of time. So I'm going to jump right in. I want to give you some insight on what led us here, the research, and then how you can use this information directly in your own work. So if we'll go to the next slide, I want you to think about a time when you were young and you were wondering about what did you want to be when you grew up, right? Oftentimes we hear firefighter, policeman, teacher, president, etc. Well, this is a picture of my daughter, who is now an adult, when she was a little girl. And we were driving along in the car and she was sitting in the back seat. And as we were driving along, she said, "Mom, I decided I know what I want to be when I grow up." And I'm like, "Great, honey, what is that?" And she said, "I want to be one of those people that people come and tell their problems to." And I said, "Oh, like a therapist or a counselor. That's a great profession. Why would you want to do that?" And she said, "Because on the playground, all the kids come to me and they tell me their problems, and I know exactly what to tell them to do." And I said, "Okay, well, that's really nice. And that's a great honor that they trust you with that. But you need to know, as a therapist or a counselor, you really ask a lot of questions, and the person kind of finds their way to their own solution." And there was a long, pregnant pause from the back seat. And then finally, Jordan said, "Well, what's a job where I get to do all the talking?" So sometimes we have a little misstep between what we desire and what is the right path for us. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But as we go to the next slide, one of the things we wanted to uncover is, what is it that holds women back? And you can go ahead and populate this whole slide for me if you don't mind. So we studied women around the world right there. Thank you. We did 30 qualitative studies, 5 race ethnicities, 4 countries, a 25-year age span, all the highly successful women. So for a gentleman out there, hang in there. There's something here for you as well. But we studied women in particular, and then we did a quantitative survey as well. The reason why we wanted to study women is we continue to see the inequity in terms of pay gap and some other things. And so that was really our interest. What we found on the next slide is that women around the world, even those that are highly successful, and go ahead, feel free to populate, thank you, is that the universal thing that each of these women felt at some point or multiple times throughout their career was a sense of restlessness, stuck, stagnant. Pick a word for it. And what we found is a relational commitment to feeling unactualized. These women felt as though they had more talent to give, more value to add, just more to do than the work was allowing. And we believe that the solution in that is around intentionality. Now, to the gentleman listening, intentionality matters for you too, but statistically, men tend to be more intentional in their careers than women. So still pay attention, and you can make great allies and sponsors as well. Why does this happen? This happens because women are, by and large, around the world, taught to put your head down, work hard, and wait to get tapped. And so we do that. We know statistically women continue to take on the lion's share of the home care and the health care and some of those responsibilities, not because our wonderful, amazing male counterparts make us. Most of the time it's because we choose to. We want to, right? And so it's a convenient option. Put my head down, work hard, wait to get tapped. But what happens in that, if you'll move to the next slide, is the impact of us not looking up, not looking forward, and not being intentional is that we miss opportunities. I liken it to being on a merry-go-round. We get through that first 6 or 8 years of our career where we're hungry and we're on the grind, and then life gets complicated and we get on that merry-go-round and we sit down on that zebra and we put our heads down like we're taught, and round we go. And at some point, for some of us multiple times in our career, we look up and all the other riders have changed and we're still sitting on that same zebra going around in circles. And we lose financial opportunity, we lose exposure, we lose growth opportunity, and quite frankly, it becomes a point of frustration. So on the next slide, the solution and the through line of my first book, Now Near Next, is to start intentionally working on your future today. What does that mean? It means do your day job with excellence, but identify your next and start today, even in micro movements, working towards your next, whether that is a promotion, starting your own business, a lateral move for more experience, serving on a board, volunteering, whatever your next is, start intentionally working on your future today. Now, on the next slide, this just gives you a really quick overview of the 9 chapters in Now Near Next. I'm going to give you one tool from the 3rd chapter under Reveal Your Zeal. We don't have time to get into all of it. So I want to give you one takeaway, one framework that you can use immediately to figure out what is your next and how do you start working on it straight away. On the next slide, because I can't go through all the frameworks, there's a lot of free materials. You can use the QR code, or you can go to the website at www.dr-cynthia.com, dr-cynthia.com. There's a blueprint that you can use to chart your journey. There's a free mid-career audit so you can see how intentional you're in fact being in your journey. And for leaders and gentlemen and others that sponsor women in the workplace, there's an allyship audit to see how well are you showing up as a sponsor and an ally for your wife, your sister, your mom, your daughters, other women in your office. All right, so let's jump in then on the next slide. So when I say start intentionally working on your future today, the 2 things that come up is, where do I have the time? We're not going to have a chance to get to that yet. But what is my next? How do I figure out my next? And just like Jordan, on the next slide, what you'll see is that sometimes we get lured in by title or compensation or things that make us think that it's the right thing, even though maybe it's not, right? So like a beautiful pair of shoes, careers can lure you in by their beauty, but they're really painful if they don't fit. And so Jordan, wanting to be a therapist, but she also wants to do all the talking. On the next slide, this is the framework. It's ACEs. So if you're wondering, how do I know what my next should be and how do I monetize that? I want you to think about natural talent. I want you to think about where you naturally show up. Here's when you know you're playing in a space of natural talent. It feels good when you're doing it. You're consistent. You're not sometimes a people person. You're always a people person. You don't sometimes bring the joy. You always bring the joy. You do that thing with excellence and you do it spontaneously. You can't help yourself. I want you to think of a great day when you reflect back and say, oh my gosh, that was one of the best days ever. What were those things that you were doing that felt great, you did consistently, better than most, and spontaneously? That's when you know you're playing in your ACEs. On the next slide, and I think this will populate, so those are your ACEs. All right, real quick story about Jordan just to bring this to close. So Jordan came to me when she was about 12 and she said, I've got this all figured out. So Jordan found her voice. She figured out that she did, in fact, want to pursue music and theater. A better choice for her, perhaps, than being a therapist. And she came to me when she was about 12 and she said, Mom, I've got my backup plan. I've got it figured out. And I'm like, great. I'm a career person. So I'm thinking music and theater are really hard to make a living at. So thank goodness that she's got a backup plan. And she looks me dead in the eye and she said, my backup plan is my plan B, I will be a female stand-up comedian. I kind of burst into laughter, not my best mommy moment. I'm like, Jordan, of all things, if you don't make it in acting, you're going to be a stand-up comedian? Like that's your backup plan? And she says to me without hesitation, Mom, I have no small dreams. Well, I don't have small dreams for you all either. I don't have small dreams for me. I don't have small dreams for my children, my grandchildren. On the next slide, one of the things that I work really hard to do is to create a movement for men, women, and leaders. And on the next slide, you'll be able to see the keynote presentations that I am fortunate to do around the world. This is a really small snapshot of Now or Never, unleashing your power in the present. I have a framework around the 7-minute pivot, and my new book drops on February 3rd. Now, why this is important to you, number one, if you grab it in pre-sale, you're going to get $728 in free bonus content. So if you grab it now, you're going to get all this bonus content to hold you over until February 3rd. The other thing is I'm, for a very short time, doing books in lieu of fees. That means for a certain number of books purchased, my normal keynote rate of $15,000 or my virtual rate of $10,000 is waived. So clients love this opportunity because they can give a physical book and they can get a top best-selling author for free. On the last slide is just some more information about how to reach me. And here I want to leave you with this. If you can't walk, then run. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. Start intentionally working on your future today. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Club Ichi, for having me. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your telethon, and I hope I helped you make up some time in the meanwhile.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cynthia. That was fantastic. Really appreciate you being able to be here with us today.